What is up, everybody? It is your girl, Tamala Baldwin, and you are tuning into the Becoming Love Project radio show. Whoop, 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 whoop. And today we have an amazing guest that is going to talk to us about, I guess, overcoming dark experiences, overcoming our trials and tribulations in order to reach and experience our good. Because so many times, so many of us, go through hardship and we get stuck. Sometimes you're like stuck in the mud, you're stuck in the wilderness, you're stuck in like what feels like the pits of hell, and you're like, how the freak am I going to get out of this? And sometimes you feel like there is no way, but there is always a way. And I want to talk about how we can move through our hardships through the testimony of Lacey O. So Lacey O, what's up?
What's up?
Okay.
I'm so excited to be here and hanging out with you.
The sentiment is totally mutual. So before we, talk about you and overcoming, tell the people a little bit about who you are. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do for, like, money?
Ooh, money.
Money.
Okay, so I'm a destination wedding, lifestyle, and fashion photographer. And then I'm also a Marine's wife going on 18 years.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I'm a busy lady, mother of 3, and I'm also a leader for the Rising Tide Society. So.
Okay, so that was a lot. You are a boss and you do so many incredible things. So how did you get into photography?
It just kind of fell in my lap. It was always a hobby. Many moons ago when I was in high school, I in the 90s, and
the best decade ever.
I mean, girl, that's fashion right now too. I'm saying, like, it's coming back. It's being incorporated more, and I'm really feeling it.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a hobby, of mine. And then I just, with my, when I got, became married and had children, I was just still doing it as a hobby because, you take those family pictures, you got to take pictures of your babies, right?
Yeah.
And my husband for years and years was like, you need to become, like, this needs to become your MO. This is your business. Like, you are so good at this. And I'm like, please, like, no, and I was focused on raising my 3 children. Right now, they're the ages of 14, 10. No, excuse me. She's about to be 10, but 9. And then my son, he is 12 years old. You see how I jumped around just then with the ages?
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You're like, how many kids do I have? What's their names? You call them by the wrong name sometimes. It's, oh my Lord. But anyway, so I just did it as a hobby thing. And then I moved to California from North Carolina. We were stationed down in North Carolina because, again, my husband's a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to California in, I believe it was 2014-ish. And about a year later, I turned it into a business. I just kind of listened to what my husband said. And then one of my dearest, oldest military wife friends, her name is Meredith Ezekiel. She was super encouraging. She actually helped teach me different things too, because she was doing photography as well. And then it just took off.
Yeah, guys, me and Lacey were connected on Instagram, and her work is stunning. Like, you are so good at what you do.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And your photos are so bright, and they're so happy, and they're just so filled with love and power. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And that's why I was a little bit surprised when I learned about your testimony and your path, So
yeah.
Has everything always been so magical? And
my Lord, no. As much as I would love to say that it was, no, that's not the way life works, does it?
But, I believe, I guess I'm naive, but I figured if you do the right thing and everything's going to be great, but that isn't how it works. Life is is never a crystal stair.
No, it's not. But here's the thing. My thinking on stuff is, and we'll dive a little bit more into, as my past and why I'm where I'm at now. You can't appreciate the sweet without the bitter. I
Yeah.
mean, what is sweet without its opposite? Or
Yes.
vice versa, or whatever, right?
Yes.
We wouldn't even know. So we have to go through these heartaches, these hardships, these trials of tribulation, in order to really, really grow and therefore flourish, and then appreciate the good things and the blessings and the outcome. If we didn't have it, and in reverse as well, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No,
Like,
I was just talking to my best friend
mhm.
yesterday
Yeah,
over a glass of wine about
yes,
that exact thing, but we were talking about, men and how the men she's meeting right now are not, what she's used to. And I said, well, you won't really know what you really need until you experience the opposite. I mean, it's a whole big conversation, but I'm trying to say that I totally get it. You won't appreciate the sun if you've never seen rain. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but when it comes to trauma, though, I'm someone that has definitely struggled with depression after
Mm,
experiencing trauma
yeah.
when I was in an abusive relationship when I was in college.
Mm,
And even, even I guess, a decade after graduating college, putting my age out there,
that's
it, it,
okay.
it's
Hey,
still,
own it.
yes, it still kind of lingers, even
Right.
though I've
It does.
prayed and healed myself, it's still
Mm,
there. So
mhm.
how did you personally, well, have you ever experienced trauma? How about that?
Yes. So I'm I don't want to say a product of child abuse, because that almost sounds like a statistic thing, like you're stuck in
Hmm.
this little statistic. You know how people say she has daddy issues and stuff like that. But I grew up. My father was verbally and physically abusive. My mother was a person who did teach me a lot of wonderful things in life, and she was the more kind of person, but she was also sadly a very passive human being. um, that kind of, it's almost like it was swept under the rug or condoned. I'm not quite sure, but she had plenty of opportunity to remove me out of the situation, and she just never did. So
Hmm.
I've definitely endured that.
So what were you like when you were graduating or leaving high school? How had, yeah, what were you like?
So when I was in high school, what was sad about high school was I actually wasn't really good at academics. And it wasn't necessarily because I didn't have the intelligence level. It was simply because I was so unhappy in my home, especially your teenage years. It's one thing when you're in elementary school, you don't have the same understanding as when you're growing into like this young lady or this young man, you know what I mean? And I hated home. I really did.
Hmm.
I wanted to be anywhere else but home. And, we were very much taught to walk on eggshells because, we don't want to upset dad and, different things like that. And, again, going back to high school, I could have applied myself to academics better, but I think I was more concerned about the social outlet because that was my fun happiness, because home was so serious,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So let's see here, my senior year of high school, when I was graduating high school, my father one time was extremely abusive towards the end, right before I was supposed to graduate. And that was the first time in my life I truly stood up for myself and challenged him right back. I wasn't scared anymore if
What
I
do you
was going to
what
get.
do you think sparked it? What do you think that courage came from?
Because it's wrong.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, right when we're born, right and wrong is written on our hearts.
Hmm.
I mean, abusing children, hitting them, threatening them, provoking this wrong type of fear is never okay, and we all know that. And the thing was, I think I've always been a bold spirit. It just was control.
No.
Girl, you already know. Tamala, I love you. You make me laugh. Yeah, so it was just, I stood up to my father, and then I honestly, because they didn't do a really good job of teaching me to, like, hey, you're amazing, you're intelligent, you could do all these things, you know, here's how to go to college, and here's how to do this. They didn't really teach me stuff like that. So instead, to get away from my father, I ran off and got married. And I've been married twice,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't date this gentleman, you know, very long. And I did it that route. And
How did
then
you feel when you left high school? Did you feel like, I know that you said they didn't really nurture the academic part. So did you feel happy? Did you feel depressed? Was that a word that you knew at 17 years old, depressed?
So I graduated high school. I was not depressed. I just wanted freedom. I think what it
Mm.
was, I needed freedom. I am a free spirit, to be quite honest with you. I'm not a person you cage. You know, I got too many bright colors for that nonsense.
Yeah.
So, I wanted freedom. And so when I first moved out of home, it really was from Portland, Oregon to North Carolina. That's how I moved out of my house. I was just like gone.
You're like, bye.
Yeah, I pieced out. And you know, and honestly, I have zero regrets in that decision making. Now, the way I got, you know, getting married and stuff like that young, not, you know, a proper dating relationship because I was such a naive young child. No, I shouldn't have done that. I promote polar opposite of that type of stuff. When my kids, like, no, get a career, education, you know, and then, you know, but then, you know, I also trust the process of things. I really, really do. And I had my eldest.
Yeah.
And honestly, I want to say she's my saving grace.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Thank you. She sure is. Like,
She
I was looking at a
is.
picture of her the other day, and I was just like, why did I get that coloration? But could I have gotten those green brown eyes with that hazel hair? Like, what's
Yeah.
up? You know, she is. She's a very, very beautiful a beautiful person. And what I like about my daughter is my husband, now that I had remarried, because my ex-husband left us when she was 2 months old, so I was doing the single mom thing forever.
So wait. So about that, how did you handle that? Like, I mean,
I know, right?
because a lot of things come to us, and it could feel so heavy and so burdensome, especially at a young age, an impressionable age.
Yes.
How did you not buckle under that? And what advice can we give to other young women that may be in that situation, where they're like feeling overwhelmed, you know?
So those are fantastic questions. I feel that thinking back that far, I had a child to take care of. Regardless of what's been dirty done to me, you're an adult. You still got stuff to do. All right. Like, yes, have your moments of where we get our cries out at night, you know, after we put the kids to bed or whatever your scenario is. But you are an adult, and God blessed you with these great capabilities and a mindset, and, you know, just focus, and you just apply yourself, and then, you know, amazing things come from it. So me, as a young single mother that came from abuse, that were married into abuse, and then, you know, he left when she was 2 months old. I had no time to feel sorry for myself. I had work to do. I had a baby, you know, and that comes first. Sometimes that has nothing to do with you anymore at this point. You have greater responsibilities. That's what you have been given. So you toughen up and you do work, really is what it is. And so I did. I actually taught preschoolers at a church daycare that I worked at, and then I taught a classroom of 3-year-olds for the Marine Corps, you know, their daycares and stuff like that. And eventually I was blessed with my husband now. But
so you mentioned God a few times, you know. So were you a woman of faith and spiritual and growing in that regard, even as a child through all of that? Or was that something you knew later on?
Yes, I was I was definitely raised with that, but it was more of a legalistic view.
What do you mean?
And, well, it wasn't a personal relationship with God. It was more so if you do A, B, C, and these check in the boxes, then you're good to go. But it's more than that. It's far more than that, because you can check in the box all the day. It doesn't mean you have any worth or substance, you know, with what you're doing with your what I call serving. You know what I mean? Because that's what we do as people that love and follow Christ, right? You serve, you live out his purpose to serve. And mine wasn't like that. It was more legalism. It was just a check in the boxes. It wasn't anything in depth. And, I came from a Catholic origin family, and I'm not putting that down, but it was then the, other portions to things to where, it drive-through Christianity, like you would McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like,
drive-through Christianity. I've never heard that phrase.
Drive-through Christianity, like the McDonald's. That to me is like, we show up on Sunday because that's what we're supposed to do. That's the check in the box. But are you really serving? Just because you went to church on Sunday does not mean you have a relationship with God, Christ, and does not mean you're actually serving your purpose that he created you for. I mean, you need more. You need to do more. It's not just, oh, I went to church and then I'm good to go. You know what no.
So when do you think that you began to experience God?
Ooh, Tamla. I think you're provoking something I actually hadn't taken time to think about. I think what it was is when you hit your rock bottom, when you're going through your storm, when you're going through your darkest hour, when you didn't do anything to deserve this, but for some reason it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, I didn't necessarily have my parents to, lean on. And maybe God stripped me of that because he wanted me to lean more on him. I didn't have much. So, what else do you have left? Him, God. And so therefore I focused, and it is something as simple as childlike faith. You just innocently, you just say, you just trust God with what he's doing. Like, Father, I'm hurting. I'm broken. I've had the worst of the worst happen to me. Help me. Just lean on him and go to him in petition of prayer with whatever's going on in your life. And you ask for it. It's one of those things where you even have to critique yourself. It's not one of those things like, oh, I'm praying to you, Father, and fix this. It's nothing like that. It is, Father, lead me, guide me, mold me, teach me how to be better. Teach me what I got to do, even if that means I have to swallow a little bit more, glass or whatever it is. Just teach me and guide me. And
you sound so spiritually mature, because I remember when
I got a long way to go. That's a huge compliment, but no, I'm still learning.
I just remember, like, when I was hitting my rock bottom,
Mm-hmm.
I was not asking God, like, to help me. I was like, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
This sucks. And I was so angry. And I can just imagine other people getting sucked into that kind of anger and then never ever getting out of it,
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess maybe, like, I'm always surprised though that some of us are able to ascend or transcend our experiences. Like you just toughened up. But was there an ever moment of just like that you can recall of surrender, like, and maybe God kind of led you through it and helped you through your rock bottom? Was your rock bottom when you were a single mom?
Oh, that's a good question. So I want to say the phrase rock bottom almost limits it to one thing, almost one event. Maybe it was a whole thing. But see, you have to keep in mind, I was raised with child abuse. I mean, not to be super deep, but my father used to kick me in the ribs when he got mad, things like that. So I was kind of used to extremes. And the thing is, I've always been a person. I think why I've just been able to handle it so well is you handle it case by case by case, step by step at step, and not this whole, it's my rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what, more is to come. So we can't just call it something as simple as that. Or we can't just say, oh, like rock bottom almost says that's all it's going to be in life. No. It most certainly not. Especially when you're a woman of business, or, you're an entrepreneur, or whatever it is that you got going on in life. this is a constant painful process of critiquing yourself and being honest about your wrongs and honest about how to improve your character and for others and different things like that. So with me, it was just, I took it step by step, and I never said it solidified it as I felt sorry for myself. Oh, I'm hitting rock bottom.
You didn't wallow in self-pity.
No, not at all. I don't got time for that. You don't got time for that.
I love it.
You got stuff to do. And that's the way I've always been. Because what's your other option? You know, just crapping out. You know what I mean? Can I say the word crap on here?
Of course. Be free, be free.
I'm teasing. Crapping out, and then what? Giving up on your life? No, trust me, when you do something like that, that is your official rock bottom. When you give up on your purpose just because things got hard, that is your rock bottom. And then you have, what's your other option? You're either going to die, or you're going to pick yourself back up and fix this, because this is your ultimate rock bottom. So I never give up. I always believe in fighting. I always believe in not, I mean, I have my moments where, man, this stings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this hurts. This is horrible. This is haunting. This is not where I want to be in life. But okay, logically thinking, if we segregate emotion, because emotion is what messes you up. If we segregate, it really does. Oh my gosh, just be a logical. Segregate emotion from logical thinking. So logically thinking is, all right, I don't like this feeling. I need to do something. I don't like where I'm at. I don't like where life brought me right now. I know they're teaching me, life is teaching me something, or the process in God or what have you is teaching me something. So what can I do? What can I do? How do I find the solution to the problem and keep it moving? And a lot of that has to do with self-reflection. And that's all that has to do with.
So you mentioned a lot right there. You mentioned emotionalism. That's what I like to call it. It's the ability to,
yeah.
Master and become the owner of your emotions. And that isn't something that's taught. And so since you grew up so how did you become so self-affirming? I mean, I guess, you mentioned that you had to struggle and you just had to toughen up. But learning how to control our emotions is something that millions of people are not capable of doing. And that's why you don't, and that's why you don't see people progressing and changing and growing, because they're letting their emotions drive them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you already answered it. You already said that you have to just get things done. You don't wallow in self-pity. But are there any other tips that you want to offer to people that may find themselves being led by their emotions, like while they're in the wilderness, so to speak? Let's say I can't be tough.
That's good stuff. I'm like, woo, let me push on myself. Go ahead, let's dive deep. Okay, I'm ready. Like, let's do this.
You're funny. You're cracking me up.
No, for real though. That's fantastic questions, and I feel like I'm really thinking. I feel that if you succumb to the wallowing of I'm stuck in this emotion, then you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again, and then what's going to happen is you're going to form this nasty little comfort zone. That's going to be your negative thinking response to every single thing. Now, is it okay? You had this trauma happen to you, this wrong happened to you, this hardship, whatever it is, death, in a family, friend, whatever it is, happened to you. It is okay to feel. It is okay to have a good cry. It's okay to take your time on mourning. Whatever the subject may be. There is nothing wrong with that. However, your circumstances and what has happened to you, you cannot allow you to be reduced by it. Because you were created for an outstanding purpose. There's nothing about nobody anywhere that they all have the traits, they all have character things, they all have gifts that they can do in big ways, small ways, in between ways, whatever it is, to help human beings, to inspire other human beings. And my thing is being, I don't know, maybe it came a little easier to me because I am a free spirit, but I'm like, oh, this is not happy. No, no, I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. What can I do to be better? What can I do to learn? How do I don't like the way this feels, so I'm going to do this. How do I get over to here, this other side?
So you're
And so
mentioning a lot of ownership. Like you definitely took ownership of your feelings, ownership of your life, ownership of what you experienced to create what you wanted. So you seem very deliberate in what
because
you're
I don't
creating.
believe in comfort zones. Comfort zones is what cripples you. It cripples you. It cripples you emotionally, mentally, physically, business wise, you name it. It cripples you. And then what's so sad about it is when we connect with other lives, well, there was a purpose with me connecting with you right here, right? So if I'm living confined to these comfort zones, I'm not even serving you right over here, and vice versa, right? And then comfort zone confined people, honestly, from what I experience with my parents, or you know my first husband with bailing, or even, I mean, sadly, Tamla, even some of my in-laws. I'm too bright, I'm too loud, I'm too flashy, I'm too whatever it is, and maybe I am, but God made me and God made you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So let's just accept that, and like, how can we benefit each other? The comfort zone confined human beings is what's caused delays in progression and delays in, I mean, just many topics in America, because we are afraid to step outside of those comfort zones, because right here, and that's selfishness
Yeah.
is what that is right there. These comfort zones are selfishness is what that is, because this is what you're used to. This is what you can control. But, and it's harder to step outside of that comfort zone and trust something else, trust God, whatever it is, and shine, and even subject yourself to more ridicule from the comfort zone confined human beings,
Yes.
and it hurts and it's hard. But me,
I,
it's just like progression is everything.
how did you discover your purpose? I mean, and I also have another question before I forget
Mm-hmm.
is, one, how did you find your purpose? Considering you had all these negative experiences happen through your childhood into your young adulthood, and two, even after you experienced a negative or toxic relationship with your first husband,
Mm-hmm.
you were able to be free from any baggage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to know how you were able to be open to love again after
Mm-hmm.
experiencing something so traumatic like that. So I guess the first thing,
Ooh,
purpose, purpose, and then juicy, juicy love.
ooh, okay. So I found my purpose by simply just not liking where I'm at. I mean, you can only be where you're at so much. Like, do you want to be happy, or do you want to just marinate in that nasty little, I don't even know. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Personally, I like being happy, and I like fun, and I like progress. That type of stuff. I mean, don't we all like that? I mean, we
Hmm.
all want to be happy. We all want to progress. We all want to. So I just don't feel sorry for myself. I don't feel sorry for myself for lots of things. So you have to understand too. When I first got married, and ever since, I had been right when the war kicked off. Okay, so my husband deployed when I was pregnant, and I've dealt with my husband always deploying. My ex, but more so in, well, I don't want to say importantly, but my husband now. Tons of deployments. I can tell you a great amount of stories of where wives have lost their spouses, due to this war and different things like that. I feel that people say, the saying, it can always be worse. Okay. And then some people don't like that saying. They say, well, okay, but this is what I'm dealing with right now. Yes, you are good to go, but it still could be worse, right?
Yeah.
And I even the hardships that I have endured, which are not okay things as far as like abuse, war is a different subject. Serving this country is a different subject. And I do not feel any ounce of self entitlement by any means. This is you serve. If y'all like America, somebody's served, you know, in the ways what way they do, and that's that. And too many people want too many thank yous for doing the right thing in this. I'm just like, this is what you're supposed to do. Don't expect the thank you. Okay. Like, really? So with me,
it sounds like in a way that you've always been very grateful because you are aware that things could be worse.
yes.
And
I'm
that's
not
important.
grateful for abuse. No,
no.
I'm not even trying to have that in this world. You know, I swear if I could be like Superman and fly all over and combat physically, you know, those abusers, I probably would. But, you know, you do it in the ways that you can. But there's always something worse. And there's always something worse. And my inspiration too is those people I've seen, personally met vets that were POWs of war, you know, people that amputees that are running still, you know, Boston Marathon, for example, you know, or people in combat, different things like that. And they're doing it. Look, with me with all my limbs, they're more in shape than I, okay? But I'm in shape. So it's just like, you know, you just take a look around you and you have so much positive inspiration during your storm anyways that you just have, I mean, there's no excuse to feel sorry for yourself. Just freaking move and find the solution.
Just move. I love it.
Just move. Like, all right, it hurts. You feel like you're in a rut. Well, you can either sit there and feel sorry for yourself or be confined to a comfort zone, really is what that is, or you could just freaking move, you know what I mean, and get yourself out of that. So
I think a lot of us are comfortable, like to feel comfortable, or even when we want to be healed and we want something different, we don't take the action to bring that to life. So I had an ex-boyfriend that would tell me to man up all the time, and he used to drive me crazy because I would kind of want to sit in my emotion and be upset and be like, I'm going to be a baby and be a brat and be upset about X, whatever it may be, you know? So I understand what you're saying, but sometimes it could be so hard. And that's kind of, you know, being mature and being accountable for your life and taking ownership, which I love.
It is. It is. And hold up. Phrase man up, though. I grew up with that, especially being around the military my entire life. And let me tell you something. That's good to go. You know, okay, man up. You know what? Men are a lovely example of things. But here's the thing. Woman up. You know what I mean? Because I feel that women that compete with men lack ambition. They really do, because you're your own kind of your own kind of wonderful. So let's just woman up. You know what I mean?
Right on.
That is fierce as all get up, because there's a lot of things women can do that men can't do, and vice versa. You know what I mean? But let's just not the man up thing. Like,
yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Lovely and strong, but we're our own type of lovely and strong too. So,
amen. Preach it, girl.
That's some old school stuff, like way back in the day stuff. I can't with it anymore.
So we have like, you know, a few minutes left, but I want to talk to you about baggage and how you were able to love again after experiencing something.
Look, logically thinking again. So I'm huge on it. Turn off your emotions if you can do it. If you can't do it, write it down. This is what I'm feeling. This is where I would like to be. This is what I'm feeling. This is where I would like to be. You have these two sides of these lists right here. It will click once you're reading it that, you know what, where I want to be outweighs this so much more. Then you actually can, once you visualize that, you can be like, okay, this is what I got to do then. How do I get to here? So I feel that, again, it's a logical, you just got to think logical. You got to write it down if you can. If you're like me, I don't normally write it down. I could just think that way, but I understand sometimes we need the visual to be on that other side, because again.
So you weren't bitter. You weren't like, F men, I hate them all. Rah! No?
Yes, I was. No, honest with you, I was for a spell. And then I think what happened was, really, I was a good woman and God saw what happened to me. And I feel that I was blessed. And maybe some people don't believe in that. Maybe, okay, she's lucky, fine. Say it's luck, whatever. I've kept him for quite some time. So, I don't think it was just luck, but whatever. I feel that, you know, you can it's just a storm. They all come to pass. The Weather
Mm-hmm.
Channel says this all the time. It will pass. It will pass. And really what it is keeping yourself in check. And that even stings too, Tamala, you know, where you're like, okay, you know, I'm a little too strong in this area. Maybe I spoke a little too harshly here to this one person. Maybe I was a little too straight up, you know, whatever it is. You just constantly check your character. And when you do that, you step outside of those comfort zones, you know, and you bloom and you continue to bloom and you continue to live out your purpose that God gave you or God spoke you into existence for, you know, and it's a beautiful process. It's a painful process, but I mean, what's your other option? Go ahead, just stay in the house. Let me know how that works out for you. See how fun that is. You know, it's not fun.
So I know that you're starting to do some work with children that may
Mm-hmm.
have experienced trauma. Can you tell us more about that?
It's still it's still in the making. Being a person that endured child abuse and physical and verbal abuse, and then having three of my own children. I think it was more having my own children. It helped me teach me even more. Like, whoa, how I was raised was so wrong, and I never ever have been able to, and it's for a reason. I embrace that as well, but I've never been able to forget what this felt like emotionally, physically, and mentally. You know, so when I hear of, I read of, whatever with children being abused, I can't hang. I can't hang.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it. Every fiber in my being is upset by what I've read or what have you. And then I'm going to go back to the military. Again, my husband's a Marine of 18 years, combat deployments, and I've been privileged to know a great many powerful, you know, just world-saving, larger-than-life military personnel across the board, you know, whatever branch. And they have done great works to preserve or try to keep women safe and their children safe, you know, with, you know, ISIS and different things like that. And it has been that fearlessness of that sacrifice of your life for another life has inspired me all the more. And it makes me want to move all the more because of those examples from our military. And it's inspiring to me, you know, so
I love it. So
yeah.
our time is actually almost up, surprisingly. So I just want to recapture and reiterate some things that I jotted down.
Yeah.
You basically said rock bottom is not one event. So sometimes when we are going through trials and tribulation, don't think of it as an isolated event. Life is always progression. And part of that expansion is sometimes tearing down that which no longer serves you. Um, Lacey O also does not believe in comfort zones. So
Nope.
if you want to, I guess, transcend into your greater, you have to be okay with moving past your comfort zones and to think logically, you know, to grab hold of your emotions and not to be led by them. Um,
Yes.
you also mentioned that your circumstances um, don't allow your circumstances to reduce who you are and who you are
Mm-mm.
meant to be. I love
Mm-mm.
that.
Those are things people think of those things, you know, these difficulties in life or circumstances that are horrible, that, you know, this is almost like the end all. But really, this is your prime, beautiful
Mm.
opportunity to bloom and rise above and dominate and conquer. You see what I'm saying? So, and now where I'm at, I'm like, oh, bring it. You know,
Yes.
I have moments of being scared. I will be heated when someone tests my patience or something like that, you know, because when you know, especially as women, we deal with a lot of cattiness sometimes too from, you know, other females. And I'm just like, oh, bring it, let's do this,
I
watch me
love
shine, watch me.
I
So
love it. So,
yeah,
so what are any last minute nuggets that you want to share with people listening and potentially viewing?
there is nothing going on in your life, nothing. And I've endured some horrible things in my life, and there's nothing that's going to, you're not forever stuck. There's nothing in your life. You may be feeling the lowest of low that you have ever felt in your life. You may feel unloved, undervalued, not worth much, but I promise you, if you hang in there and you keep it moving and you just keep on trying, hour by hour, day by day, you will grow into and feel better out of this situation, and you'll be in a better state. There's nothing about you or any other external anything out there that has more power over your purpose. And that's what you gotta hold so tight onto that. Even if it's like I'm holding on by a little teeny baby thread, you still gotta do it, because that's what I did, and I overcame so much of feeling stupid, ugly, unlovable, dumb, lots of different horrible things I've thought about myself based off of those that wanted to dull down my shine. You know what I mean? And now I'm just so bright, it's probably obnoxious at this point. And I'm okay with that too. I'm not perfect, but I'm okay with that too at this point. So just keep it moving. Don't give up. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm a person you can always reach out to via email if you need a little advice or some love or that little nudge and stuff like that, because I know how it is. And I didn't have that. I just chose. It's literally a choice. So
I
let's
love
move
it.
forward. Yeah.
So how can people find you and connect with you?
So you can connect with me two ways. Instagram, so it'd be at Lacey O Photography, and that's Lacey O Photography, and then my website www.lacyo.photography.
So before we head out, what are you working on the rest of the year? Like, what can we expect from Lacey O?
Woo! Okay, so I'm right now going through a rebranding process because business has grown so much, which is it's been a huge blessing. And right now we're doing a launch. We're going to be doing a giveaway with my creative design team. I'm moving to DC here, Washington DC, June 8th from California, because my husband's wanted at the Pentagon. Again, he's a Marine, and then we're going to be working in the portion of aiding in those that are stuck in abusive situations, child abuse, for example. So those are the things we have in the works right now. So
You have so much on your plate, so much
yes.
goodness, so much love, so much power in life. And I'm excited. And I think that this segment is going to resonate with so many people that have experienced trauma and feel stuck. It's about making a choice, as you said.
It really is. And the thing is, sometimes you gotta, the ugliness that you're going through, you gotta give that a good hug too. Like a good old hug. Like just embrace it, because what you're going through right now is actually the thing that's going to refine you and strengthen your character for your greater calling. So it's almost like I almost want to hug the ugly things more than I want to hug the good things, because the good
Yes.
things don't really strengthen my character. This is good. Oh, yay, champagne. Easy, no problem. The hard things, that's what you got to really give it a good church hug and, embrace and know that this is part of your development. So
I think that is a great, 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 great nugget. A lot of us do not realize that, or at least, we don't want to honor the struggle. And the struggle is where all the refining does happen, where the diamond's really made. They always say,
that's
yes.
a great parable. Yes, 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 yes. What is it? What would they say? Charcoal under pressure, then it turns into a diamond. I think I messed that up, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't know the charcoal.
No. Okay, let's just leave it like that. I did it.
Yes.
On the fly. You get it. You get it, everybody. You get it.
Yes, yes. A diamond's made under pressure, and the pressure is always meant for I don't want to say all pressure, but it is refining you, it is growing you, and it's for purpose.
Yes. Yes.
Do you
And
think
if you
that
just embrace that, you got this. Promise you. You got this.
How do you think that your life would be different if you had not experienced what you experienced growing up?
I think I would have been a very superficial, nobody human being. I really would have, and that hurts me to think about. If I would have been confined to comfort zones. I may have actually produced maybe the same wrong, to be quite
Mm.
honest with you, the way I was raised in different areas and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it was an easy process, and that's the thing people need to let go of. If you want to shine, if you want to be somewhere else, you still got to crawl for a ways, you know what I'm saying? And and that process is painful too, but pain only lasts for it's a temporary thing, so, most pains. And I just preferred, I didn't want to be that person. I knew this was wrong. I didn't like what I was being limited to. I didn't like how people made me feel like I was too much.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like how I felt like I got to dull myself down, because they didn't like how much I shined, or whatever their insecurities were, or however people wanted to box me. I didn't like it, because I thought to myself, well, hey, friend, or some family member, or Mojo, I'm super accepting of you. What's up? You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that, in my older years, I'm 34 now, but I guess maybe later on in my 20s is what I'm talking about, in my earlier 30s, I was just like, why are you always so accepting, but you're always feeling like you're less by these human beings? And another thing you got to keep in mind too is there is nothing wrong with relationships, and you decide this is toxic and I gotta go because you're cramping my style.
Mm-hmm.
You are negative. You are unkind. You make me feel ugly. And you know what that is. There is either people calling you out because you really are being a jerk, or there's just those that are just negative towards you because of where they're at with their comfort zones. And there is nothing wrong. And that's actually one of the most freeing things I have ever done in my life, is say goodbye to human beings that want to put me inside a box.
Mm.
And I stopped caring what people thought about me. Different things like that. And you know what, Tamala, as much as I wish it was the other way, sometimes those people that you got to say goodbye to, or you just got to just like love them where they're at and let them go, are family members.
Yeah.
It's a relationship, somebody that you're intimate with, that you do love, like a boyfriend or a girlfriend or what have you. It could be a best friend of 100 years or 50 years or whatever it is. Sometimes you just got to say goodbye, and then just trust that we had a beautiful season together, or we had our season. Maybe it even wasn't beautiful, but this is why we're saying goodbye. So I guess it wasn't beautiful, but every relationship has a season, and that's okay.
Totally okay.
And there's a lot of
Absolutely.
guilt out there, like when you have these deep relationships with human beings, that you have to keep them, or their family, and you have to keep them because they're blood. But blood doesn't act like that to begin with anyways. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Trying to dull you down. So
Again,
gotta let it
taking
go.
ownership of your life, ownership of your emotions and your happiness.
And your beautiful purpose too. Your
And your
beautiful
beautiful
purpose.
purpose.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Well, Lacey O, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing and just being light.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for being light too, because you and I were just drawn to each other like a
Oh!
moth to flame.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it.
I was like,
So,
she's beautiful. I need
as
more of
are
that in my
you.
life. I
As
need her.
are you. As are you. So,
Thank you.
everyone, thanks for watching. Make sure you connect with Lacey O. If you have any questions about child abuse, about how to overcome trauma, like please
Yes,
engage. Let's talk about it. Let's heal each other, so we can become more love.
absolutely.
Over and out, y'all. Bye.
Bye.